This video is to demonstrate how the facing piece gets attached to the lining piece of the bag. And this is finishing up the last construction of the lining part of the bag. So for the main construction of the lining part of the bag, it goes together the exact same way that my outer bag did. So that means I am first stitching my side short ends together. Then I'm attaching that long strip to either the front or the back of the bag and then its opposite side. So I've already done all that assembly. Go back to the videos that say outside bag assembly. Those should be messenger bag videos 8 and 9 if you need guidance on how to do that. But again, it goes together exactly the same way that the outer bag goes together. The thing that you will notice about the lining portion of the bag is that your lining pieces altogether are shorter in height than your outer bag, and that's because they're missing their facing. So the facing pieces should be the skinniest strips that are in the pattern. And those get sewn together basically as a ring. You can see that I've sewn not one short end, like the side and the strap, but both short ends. And I've made one continuous loop. This loop is going to get attached to the top of my lining bag. And really the purpose of the facing is to have a little bit of your outside or fashion fabric go inside your bag. You'll find facings in all kinds of garments, in purses and other kinds of bags where the outer fashion fabric goes into that garment and then the lining starts a little bit after that. And that just gives you a cleaner, crisper finish to the edge of your bag. You'll notice that on suit coats and formal coats and jackets, that there is fashion fabric that goes into that coat before that shiny lining starts. So the same concept applies here. So what I'm going to do to get this assembled is I'm going to put this ring on the very top of my bag. So I want to make sure that I match it up right side to right side. So I've got my facing piece inside out on my lining bag right side out currently. I'm going to go ahead and match up seams to start out. And then as you guide this around the top of the bag, you'll notice that it will fit at the opposite seam on the other side of the bag. So get those things to line up first, and then go back and pin everything else in between. Again, just like any pinning of any project, you want to find the points where it matches and pin the ends of something together first before you go back and pin the rest of it. It will just make everything easier and fit together nicer than if you just start at one end and work your way to the other. You'll accidentally stretch out your fabric if you do that. So I'm going to throw some pins in here, making sure my edges match. And then we will sew this in one continuous loop like the facing is. It's pretty simple and straightforward. This is a straight line, nothing too tricky about it. And this will be the last main thing that goes together before we begin the final assembly of all the bag pieces together. Notice if I'm pinning toward my line of stitching that I'm pinning all in the same direction, so I can pull those pins out as I go. It just helps me pin a little bit faster and sew a little smoother. Almost there. And when I sew, I definitely want to begin at a seam. You really could begin at any part of this line of sewing, but it's nice to know exactly where you're going to start and end up. And you will meet the previous stitching because you'll be sewing in a circle basically. One more pin should do it, and then I'm going to turn on my machine. Okay, let's focus in there. So again, this is at 1/2 inch seam allowance like the rest of my bag. And I'm almost there. Almost got around the bag in a complete circle. And I just want to meet my stitching and backstitch. There's no holes or gaps in what I just did. Now I'm going to go back and clip my threads. And we'll see how it turned out. I do want to go to my iron and press this all out. But you can see the way it will end up looking with this nice, neat rim of facing on the very top of your lining bag. So you'll go back and press that seam open and flat, and then you'll be ready to assemble the rest of the bag.